Well, it's official. Last month, Zoo New England officials announced that grassroots wildlife conservation had become part of Zoo New England. Grassroots Wildlife Conservation is a local nonprofit organization with proven success and commitment to preserving rare and threatened species in eastern Massachusetts. Zoo New England, which manages Franklin Park Zoo in Boston and Stone Zoo in Stoneham, will now partner with Grassroots Wildlife Conservation to work even harder and smarter in saving animals from extinction. This exciting merger also expands the capacity to create fun and engaging experiences that connect visitors of all ages to the wonders of the natural world. To give us details on how they plan on doing this together, we've invited Zoo New England President and CEO John Linehan and founder and executive director of Grassroots Wildlife Conservation and now Director of Conservation for Zoo New England, Dr. Bryan Windmiller. Welcome to Urban Update, gentlemen. Thanks for coming in. So how did this merger between Zoo New England and Grassroots Wildlife Conservation come about?
It was really the end product of years of working with them between the zoo and Grassroots, collaborating on various projects and essentially my being very impressed with the way they were doing things to save threatened species, and my just approaching Bryan one day as we were talking about something else and asking him if he would consider this merger, and that's basically how we began it.
And how do both organizations benefit from this merging? Bryan, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. From our perspective, we were a tiny organization. We had 4 people doing lots of work. We were working with more than 40 schools a year in Massachusetts with a bunch of rare species conservation projects. And we benefit in every possible way in doing our mission of reaching out to people, doing effective conservation. The zoo has an incredible staff, and we benefit from their administrative help, from their marketing help and publicity help. We benefit mostly from the animal care and animal health professionals. We're just delighted to be part of the zoo now.
And what does Zoo New England get out of this?
Well, part of our strategic plan was to really expand. We've been doing conservation work for years, but to really grow that as a bigger part of what the zoo is all about, not only for what we want to do, but getting people involved. And that's something that Bryan and Grassroots had done very well. So to me, it really came down to being a 1 + 1 = 3. Both organizations are benefiting so greatly by this merger.
Now, what are some of the species, Bryan, that are endangered that will benefit from this?
So right now we're working with a couple of rare turtles here in eastern Massachusetts, rare salamanders, rare fish, rare wildflowers. Just one project, if I could mention as an example. So marbled salamanders, really pretty silver and gray salamander. Big salamander used to be common around the Boston area. Disappeared, was last seen in the Middlesex Fells and Lynn Woods back in the 1930s. And now we grow baby marbled salamanders from western Massachusetts. School kids raise them at Medford High School and Winchester High School, and we release them back in the fells. So after 80 years of not being here, we've got our rarest salamander back right near Boston.
Well, that's really amazing. I imagine most people are not aware that so many species here in Massachusetts are threatened by extinction.
Yeah, and even right here in Boston, right? Many of the species live all around us. In Boston, this really rare bird, the piping plover, has a thriving population, well, in Revere, and peregrine falcons, the fastest bird in the world, now nest on the Custom House.
Wow. John, talk to me about maybe some of the projects you're working on currently.
Well, there's a host of projects. One of the big ones we, on an international basis, that we will get Bryan and his team involved with is saving endangered frogs in Panama. And there's a chytrid fungus, a fungus that has been wiping out frog species, and my head veterinarian, head of our conservation efforts, has been the lead veterinarian in partnership with the National Zoo and the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo and the Houston Zoo, and working with the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute. And we're saving frogs that have been wiped out in the wild, and they're in captive security populations in Panama, working with the Panamanians. And then more locally, we're doing a biodiversity initiative right in Franklin Park, where again Bryan and Grassroots has been involved, but we're getting local people involved. It's about citizen science, and we're really growing our citizen science program and getting kids involved in understanding and helping to look scientifically at these species that occur right in their backyard.
Yeah, talk to me more about the children, what you're doing with the kids in the local schools, and how they can help with your mission.
Sure. So, well, one of the ways we do it is we take for some species where this is helpful, we take rare animals, we take like baby turtles just hatched out of their nest. Their odds on their own, just the way turtles are, of making it to adulthood are really small. So we take these tiny little turtles the size of a 50-cent piece. We bring them to school kids all across eastern Massachusetts. We show them how to raise these turtles until they're 9 months old. They get about 15, 20 times the size that they were born at that time. And then the kids see with their own work what they're doing, and they come out and release these turtles back into the wild where they'll be contributing members of their population.
You know, when you think about the changing demographics that are sweeping across the state and across the nation, what does this mean for reaching out to different families to engage children in just a more diverse society in terms of learning about nature and the endangered animals?
Well, that's something that we've been doing at the zoo for a long time. We have probably uniquely one of the most diverse audiences of any cultural institution in the city. If you go in there on any summer Saturday, you'll probably hear 10 or 12 different languages spoken. You'll see grandparents with their grandkids. You'll see just every kind of person there is in life together there. But it's also, we're participating in festivals and getting our word out, and then trying to get people involved in conservation in various ways, and in basically in really getting them to understand that they have to be stewards for this planet, and getting them to appreciate that they can be successful, they can make a difference. And that's what Bryan's program has done so successfully for so long, and we've been doing through, for example, our Zoo Teens program.
Okay. And finally, I guess, just to wrap things up, how can folks get more involved with Zoo New England?
One of the easy ways that, pertinent to what we're talking about is to get involved in one of our citizen science projects. In the spring, we're going to be participating in an international competition between metropolitan areas called the City Nature Challenge, and they can participate by actually going out and counting animals.
Okay, sounds fabulous. John Linehan, Zoo New England, and Dr. Bryan Windmiller, Grassroots Wildlife Conservation, thank you both for coming in, and sounds like you got some amazing projects going on there. Fabulous collaboration between the two of you.
Very exciting.
Okay, well, that's it for this edition of Urban Update. I'm Byron Barnett. For all of us here at Urban Update, have a great Sunday, everyone.